Good morning. I am Pedazo Jimenez, United States Navy, and I'm here and your talent acquisition specialist from Missouri City, Texas. Um, Thank you for all who are joining. By all means, do tell your friends to join in to this phone call as well. There are different things that we'd like to share with you about the Navy and what the Navy can bring to you to advance your career. Like I said yesterday, I will give you roughly 15-20 seconds for everybody else to join, and we'll get started. Make sure that whenever you are before you join in, make sure you have all the questions while taking this conversation. Make sure you write down all the questions you can possibly have, because I'll be answering questions at the end of this live stream. And again, I hope you take my advice from yesterday and you actually wrote down questions that you can possibly have. You ask your friends, you ask your peers, because today will be the day that I'll be answering some of those questions. Now, the better way to answer questions in a one-on-one interview, but this is another way of doing this. All right. Let's give it a few for people to join in. All right, let's get started. Again, I'm Pedazo Jimenez, United States Navy. I'm a Navy recruiter assigned here to Missouri City, and I've been in the Navy for roughly 10 years, 6 years of active duty service, 4 years in the reserves. And of those 6 years of active duty service, I've been everywhere, from Spain, I've been in Italy, I've been in Africa, the West Side, I've been in California, I've been in Illinois, Texas, the States, and I've also been in Japan. And that's something that the Navy brings to you. The Navy can give you all these places that you can go. You can be anywhere in the world, because the world is 70% water. So the Navy sails mostly to most places in the world. We got port calls. We got all these places that we can be at, and the Navy is there, to give you this sense of adventure that most people are seeking for. Now, we have an age limit of 39 to join the Navy, which means that our Navy is filled with lots of people of different cultures, of different age groups, of different mentalities that help the Navy advance in itself, because we're merging all these thoughts, all these ways of life that ultimately enrich the Navy. So you will meet people of all sorts of places. I'm coming from Puerto Rico, and I'm speaking English, and that's because of my training. I learned to better my English when I was in the Navy. If not, I'll be speaking Spanish to y'all because it's easier. But that's one of many things. When I came into boot camp almost 10 years ago, I had to learn all these little accents, all these little differences, cultural difference. People from Alabama, people from New York and California, people that we converged, but ultimately the boot camp training, the 2 months that we did in boot camp, helped develop us into one unit. And we started being, civilians in our end, and ultimately became sailors. So you will meet a lot of people with different interests, with different ways of life, with different background, different education. That in itself, it's a huge benefit for me, was because it helped me develop myself as a person. Now I'm meeting people from other cultures. It's not the same when you're growing your own town and then you move to another city. Now you're taking just from that city. And then maybe everybody's piled in together, and you kind of make it true, all this piling up of people. So I think that's something pretty cool of the Navy. And then whenever you go and you're moved to some other places, now you're learning about these other cultures, about how these other people behave. So people from Spain, for instance, behave differently. They have a way different culture than people from Djibouti, which was a shock to me. It's just to different, and they're all those cultures are different from my culture as well. So learning all these little things from different places, it's something that I will most definitely not have experienced that if I haven't not joined the Navy. Now, speaking of self-development, the Navy will also give you 130 career fields to choose from, anything from healthcare to nuclear engineering to electronics, you name it. And the Navy has a job for that. So whenever you join us, let's say you wanted to do something in aviation related, well, there is an opportunity for you to get that job set and you can develop in that community. So again, 130 fields to choose from. And you can just imagine the possibilities of what you can do with all that knowledge. Now, another great perk of the Navy is that it gives you money for school. Make sure you're writing down all these questions you might possibly have, and either text it here or send me a message, just so I know, just so I can answer them later. There are different programs for the Navy to pay for your college. We have the Forever GI Bill. The Forever GI Bill covers mostly 100%. It's a 100% tuition. That way you don't have to pay or get a student loan or pay out of pocket for your college education. The Navy will pay for that. And in some cases, it can even give you money for your housing, and it will give you book stipend for up to $1,000. So the Forever GI Bill is a great program for you to get your education paid for by the Navy. You don't have to pay it, out of pocket. The Navy also have tuition assistance. What that is for a way for whatever you are in the active duty, the Navy will pay you for you to go to college, and you can take different classes that way, and it will be in your off time, but it's also not coming out of your pocket. The Navy will give you the opportunity for you to get tuition paid for, and it's just 100% free. It's not money they take from other pals. So what most people do is that they advance up to an associate's. Let's say somebody enlisted out of high school. They do their active duty time, and they advance their associates in their active duty time. And once they're done with the active duty time, now they have all the money for the Forever GI Bill piled up, and they just finish a bachelor's and up to a master's because they've already advanced their career so much. Now, that's not just to say that your program, that your job doesn't come with college credits. We have something called the Navy College Program, and what it does, it matches your naval training, and it gives you credits, matches up with other colleges that will take them as credits. So, for instance, for me, as an electronics technician, I already have 15 credits, I believe, 15 to 18 credits set up in electronics or computer sciences for a computer sciences degree, because I had this naval training, and the Navy College Program converted my training to this other school. Something else that we have is the certifications paid for. If you Google Navy Cool, COOL, you will see that the Navy will pay for certain certifications in the civilian field. So, for instance, as a recruiter, I have human resources knowledge. So the Navy will pay for a human resources certification, the PHR or the EPHR, SPHR, I mean. That way, that certification that is valued outside of the civilian world, that certification people will pay me for that once I separate the Navy, and it's a certification that I don't have to pay nothing out of pocket for it. So we've already discussed 3 ways for the Navy that will advance your career, either with the Forever GI Bill, Navy Cool, and the Navy College Program. The Navy College Program also covers tuition assistance. There are many different ways that the Navy will give you that college education that you need. So something that prospects tell me whenever they talk to me on the Navy, they say, well, I want to go to college. Cool, but why not join the Navy and go to college? Joining the Navy is not really something that you have to do instead of college. You can do both of those things. The Navy, it's more than a job. The Navy is a way of life. So you can still pursue your personal self and self-develop while being in the Navy. It's not like you're putting that aside and you're just focusing on the Navy itself. No, the Navy, joining the Navy is again, it's a job, but it's also a lifestyle, and in that lifestyle is a very centric in self development, right? Oh, hold on, wait one. So we've covered all these college education and all these programs the Navy has for this, for your advancement. Make sure you write down all the questions you might possibly have. Now, you join the Navy. What are the rewards for you to join the Navy? Monetary rewards, I mean. Well, certain programs like the nuclear engineering field, the Navy will give you a bonus for joining. Right now, there are bonuses for even passing your physical test. So you can get up to $40,000 in bonuses just for joining. Aside from that, you get a full, very competitive pay. The pay that you get, you have something called basic pay and something called BAH and BAS, allowance for housing, allowance for substance. Now, depending on where you fall, if you're single, what rank you have, and whatnot, and also where you live, that pay varies. So, for instance, somebody like me, E5 with almost 10 years of service, let's say I was to live in San Diego, well, the Navy will pay me non-taxable extra money for living in San Diego up to $2,800, right? Roughly $2,800. I don't know it on the top of my head. So non-taxable, that's aside from my basic pay. So every month I will be receiving that money. Aside to that, other non-monetary benefits, the Navy, the bases have all these amenities that you can go, pools, movie theaters, the exchange, which is tax-free, the commissary, which is tax-free as well. That most of them are free or at a very, very, very low price. I was in San Antonio, because we don't have a base here in Houston, so it's hard to compare. So the closest base that I've seen here, closest, nicest base that we have around, is in San Antonio. And I was in San Antonio before this coronavirus stuff happened. And in San Antonio, they had their, all these amenities, and it was nice to go back there and experience the exchange and experience all these extra amenities that you have, because you don't have them here, right? You don't have them in Houston, and it reminded me of the stuff that you're missing out because I'm not living on base. Other extra non-monetary benefits. Well, the Navy also has healthcare. If you're an active duty sailor, you're 100% covered for anything that can happen to you, and for other surgeries. Like, I wear glasses just because I'm how I say it, a little skeptic about laser surgery, but I wear glasses if I wanted to. The Navy would just pay for my LASIK. I have a tooth extraction, and the Navy just put in a titanium screw, and they put a new crown, and you won't be able to tell that that's a fake tooth. It's just the way it is, and it was 100% paid for by the Navy. I haven't put anything out of pocket. My family is taken care of as well, and there are different tiers for my family to go. They can get civilian doctors to see them, and I pay a minimum price for them. So there are different other perks as well in the healthcare field, lifestyle. Like I said earlier in the video, I could not experience all this adventure, all these different cultures, had I not joined the Navy. You will be traveling. Something that I tell all my prospects is that eventually stay long enough in the Navy and you will be going to Japan. It's just going to happen. I know people say, "Oh, I love Japan." I was okay with Japan. I didn't care too much for it. But if you want to experience that, be in the Navy long enough and you will go to Japan. Something that I really was looking forward to go to was to Spain. And the Navy, that was actually my first deployment, was sent to Spain, which was awesome because I loved Spain and it was a beautiful place. And I always wanted to go, So that's where I was. I landed there. Um, as other great non-monetary benefit is paid leave. Now, if you get ill in your civilian job, um, let's say you get ill and you have to go to the doctor, the civilian job will do something that's called PTO, right? You have 14 days, 10 to 14 days, usually 14 at the best, in your civilian life, but you're also taking sick days out of that, right? Not in the Navy. In the Navy, if you're sick, and you go to the doctor, and that's not taking off your leave days or your off days. Besides that, you accrue 2.5 days every month of vacation time, meaning that in a full year, you will have 30 days accrued for you to go on vacation. And where you go to vacation, that's your problem. The Navy does not care where you go for vacation. What places have I gone on vacation? California, Texas, Florida. I've been in Dominican Republic, which is where my wife's from and where I grew up. I've been in Puerto Rico, and it's just, you just take it. You just take it out of your 30 days a year. So, and that has nothing to do with sick days for you. I'm sorry. And also sick days for your family. So let's say your family is ill and you need to be with them. The Navy will allow you to go be with them. If it's an emergency, you will go. You have to. So, and that's not taking off your leave days as well. Like in this command right now, in our detachment, there's three parents that are on paternity leave. The Navy gave them 14 days off, not touching their actual vacation days, not touching any of those days. 14 days off, just because their spouses gave birth. They're just there. Same happened when my twins were born. When my twins were born, I was already in the Navy, and I just went. I was just there with my wife. 14 days, they didn't touch my actual vacation days. So that basically covers. There's much more discounts. Again, tax-free shopping. Different other perks that just because of you being in the military, being in the Navy, you get those. And now, there are two main tiers for people to join. You can join as an enlisted sailor or as an officer. I'm an enlisted recruiter. What I like to do is dual process people, meaning that I will give you an enlisted contract, or send you to get an enlisted contract, and also have you talk to an officer recruiter. That way you can have both applications going at the same time. And let's say you're selected for officer, one of your applications gets done, and then you're sent off as an officer. Now, I'm not going to touch officer requirements. That's more of something for another video. But for today, I'm going to touch on enlisted requirements. You have to be 18 to 39 years old to graduate boot camp. You can join in at 17. And you have to have a minimum of a high school diploma. Now, a lot of people join in their senior year in high school. I should have done that. I didn't. It was a mistake. In the senior year of high school, you can join the Navy, and that actually helps you because now you're getting ready to go to boot camp. We give you classes to get you ready for boot camp. It's called the Delayed Entry Program. So in your senior year, you can join, and you're considered a senior, in May of the prior year. So, and you can join up to 39 years old. I joined when I was 26 years old. Again, I should have joined out of high school. I didn't. It doesn't matter. I still joined. I have a very rewarding career. I already had a degree when I joined, but I joined as an enlisted sailor, and it has been wonderful. It's been a great path, and it was the best decision, best business decision I've ever made. You can also join as an active duty sailor or as an advanced reserve sailor, and we can cover those two in a different video. But basically, active duty full-time, advanced reserve sailors part-time. Not to confuse advanced reserve sailors to individually ready reserve. Again, we'll focus those in another video. that's it. That's the end of this video today. If you have any questions, by all means, to post them or send me a direct message with any other questions you might have. Again, I'm Pedro C. Jimenez, United States Navy. Thank you so much for joining this call, this live stream, and hit me up. Have a nice rest of the day. Bye.